You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast, and of course, our friends over at the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check out the Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street. Let them know Locked On Senators sent you on a game day and get 10% off your order. And also check out the Glebe Central Pub shuttle, $17 round trip to and from the CTC. The vibes are absolutely free. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller. The Ottawa Senators win 3-1 over the Nashville Predators. A late goal from Nashville spoils the shutout. Linus Ullmark, fantastic in this game, making 35 saves. Pillsy, how'd you see this one play out?
This was a huge win for the Ottawa Senators, Ross. And if it wasn't for Sportsnet putting up the graphic consistently that the Nashville Predators haven't scored in 101 and 15 minutes or whatever, they wouldn't have jinxed Ullmark's shutout. So that's on the production crew of Sportsnet. But all jokes aside, Ullmark played a really solid game. You got really good game from Timmy, really good game from Nick Cousins. Jacob Bernard-Docker gets his first goal of the season, an absolute beauty. And it seemed like the Sens check the game notes, bud, was to shoot high blocker on a smaller goalie in UC Saros. That's where JBD's goal came from. That's where Nick Cousins' breakaway goal came from. And then obviously the Giroux goal goes off a defenseman's skate and in. So the Ottawa Senators found ways to score here, and they played a really good game defensively. And a team that's struggling in the Nashville Predators, they didn't let them come in here and have that hunger off of coming off being shut out by the Montreal Canadiens. Like we've seen multiple other teams, Ross, when they get shut out, they come to Ottawa and they have a get right bounce back game up against a Senators team. Not this time. So the Sens, that's 2 games in a row, Ross, and we're officially back to 500.
Hey, we're not going to say sorry about winning a game, but the Nashville Predators, they ain't the Edmonton Oilers or Vegas Golden Knights, the last 2 teams who were shut out the night before. The guy at Sportsnet was addicted to the graphic. The Nashville Predators haven't scored in blank. It got to 118 minutes before they got the goal. And I mean, that's literally just 2 games. Like, they scored late in the third period against Toronto.
Chill out,
Dude, relax, man.
Come on.
And it was awesome to see Linus Ullmark play the way he did. But even better than that, you just named the goal scorers. How many times were we begging for depth scoring, even secondary scoring, and Claude Giroux scores the second goal of this game to get off the schneid. JBD's first goal in 58 games, opening the scoring. The Senators are now 10-1. when they score first in a game, 6-0 at home when they score first in a game. And this team, I felt like they battled tonight. This was a physical affair. You think in the first period when Michael McCarron just sucker punched Ridley Gregg, that's nothing he ain't used to. Sen's got a power play out of that one. Then in the second period, an unfortunate situation where Brady Tkachuk throws a clean hit on Alexandre Carrier. He goes down. He's stumbling off the ice. We hope that he's okay. You never want to see someone hurt. The maturity of this team and Brady Tkachuk, for all the times that we say, hey, the captain fights when he shouldn't occasionally, tonight, him turning down Luke Schenn, not once, but twice, and saying, look, now's not the time. It was, to me, a huge step forward for him, for the organization, and for this team to come out and not worry about that, not worry about getting into the mud like I do on Twitter sometimes. They kept it clean, and they got another insurance goal where Nick Cousins gets it. And he's been a different guy ever since he had that momentum-changing shift in the third period against the Ducks, right? He had that play where he had a huge hit, and then he steps up and handles himself well. And I think that that's a huge sign of things to come for Ottawa.
Well, what that is, Ross, going back to the Brady Tkachuk discussion and turning down that fight, is it's Brady putting his ego in the back seat and the team's ability to win games and stay composed in the driver's seat. Like, that's what it comes down to. Like, in years past, Brady probably puts his ego ahead of it because he doesn't want other people around the NHL to think that they can get away with that, or that he'll back down from a challenge or anything like that. And that's fine when you're a rebuilding team and you don't really care about 2 points at the end of the day. But when you're in a position like the Ottawa Senators and all it takes is an emotional slip or a lack of discipline for a little bit, and then you get your team off the game. And not only that, Ross, but you give the other team momentum. Like, let's say he gets in a fight and it doesn't go well for the Sens. Now Nashville's bench has a boost, and you've now affected the whole momentum of that game, and it could end up slipping away from you. We've seen that happen. So, yeah, you got to give props to Brady Tkachuk for showing a little bit of maturity and discipline.
Restraint is the key word there. And I thought Brady was solid in this game. We will get to our Sen Central standouts, of course, and I'll give you a little boots on the ground reaction here as I am live in the Canada Life Center. You can see the beautiful rink below where the Belleville Senators erased 3-0 deficits in back-to-back games, but we'll save that for the end of the show. Shout out Stephen Halliday, though, friend of the show. Great guys on that team. We'll get to that at the end of the show, my experience here. Matt Sogard, by the way, expected to be ready to go hopefully in the next week or so. Had a nice chat with him too, but it's the Ottawa Senators right now. And Linus Ullmark in particular, I think I said he had 35 saves. No. He had 37 saves on 38 shots tonight, and he was at his best when the team needed him the most. The last 10 minutes of the game, Nashville pushed, and even after they scored with about 2 minutes left, the push was still on. And there were some tense moments, but he stood strong.
Yeah, there was right at like the 2-minute mark, like you referenced, there was some scrambling chaos in the crease. And sorry, I'm blanking on his name. What's the Preds guy that got the goal?
Oh, Fedor Svechkov.
Yes, yeah, thank you. He almost got another one there, and then they showed him on the bench just pissed off, like, how did I miss that one? Because that puts things in jeopardy if they get that goal to not tie it, but bring it within 3-2, because then you pull the goalie, you get a little bit of a boost there. So thank goodness that doesn't happen. The Sens are able to walk away with the 3-1 win.
And they play tomorrow, so hopefully keep it rolling. The Senators are 4-1-1 now in their last 6 games after going 0-4-1 in their previous 5. So is it a roller coaster, or is it a maturing team figuring it out? That's what the next week, and I would say next month, will tell us, as they've got that 9-game road trip that is split up by the holiday break, but still a long time away from the Canadian Tire Center. But tonight's game was a perfect example of what Travis Green is preaching. He said before the last game, told his team that they want to play every game like they're going to be 2-1 games. Well, guess what? They get a 2-1 win and a 3-1 win in their next couple of games. Like, that's buy-in.
Win tomorrow?
Ooh, well, Marcus Hogberg's in net, and he hasn't had much. Well, we don't know for sure, but we think Marcus Hogberg's going to get the start against Ottawa. And that, to me, would be a good sign, because he hasn't had a whole lot of success in that building.
Well, who started? I'm just looking at who started tonight.
I think it was Sorokin again. They beat the Hurricanes tonight.
Yeah, Sorokin got the start, so very likely
okay.
we're going to see Marcus Hogberg.
Okay, well, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves here. Let's look back at what was a 3-1 win for the Senators, where there was no scoring in the first period. Jacob Bernard-Docker opened it 5 minutes into the second. Tim Stützle and Adam Gaudette gets his second assist of the season on JBD's first of the year. And then nearing the end of the period, it was Claude Giroux off a beautiful feed from Tim Stützle. 2-point Timmy is so back. 7th multi-point game of the year for Tim Stützle. He's got at least a point in 21 out of 26 games. So does the captain, who was held off the score sheet tonight. And I mean, we gotta do some digging here, because Nick Cousins scores the goal to go up 3-0 in the third period. Michael Amadio with the assist there. And yep, just what I thought. When Michael Amadio has at least a point this year, the Senators are 5-0-1, Pilsy. So he's the secret sauce to it here.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't happen that often that Amadio gets a point, but yeah, those I want to go back to that goal by JBD, Ross, because we talked about it. This is an Ottawa Senators team that has not been able to generate a lot of offense from the back end. In particular, not a lot of offense from the back end, 5-on-5. That's just a great play by Tim Stützle. And they showed the alternate angle on the replay. Heads up play, sees JBD streaking in, and then you got to give credit to JBD for the confidence to rip that pill there. And he top shelf blocker side on Saros, and it's a great goal. So that's a huge confidence booster for a guy in JBD who that'll be nice to add that. And did he get that, Ross? Remember there was that chart from last year where JBD had the most goals from the right corner. He might have been in a
It
little
was a
tighter
little
than that.
tight. Yeah, a little
But it
tight.
would have been great if he could rack those up and just keep that going year by year. The JBD zone.
Yeah, his spot on the
Yeah.
ice. You hear about the Stamkos spot, but how about the JBD spot? Stamkos, by the way,
Stamkos, no spot tonight.
pretty invisible tonight. He had one
Seriously.
chance. He had one bang play right in front of the net early on where Ullmark squeezed it tight, made a great save. Dude, I keep going back to Linus Ullmark. Like, this guy is feeling it right now, right? Ever since you stripped his jersey down for a day.
You got to hold players accountable, Ross. Nobody wants their jersey taken down in the background set of a podcaster's basement extra bedroom. You don't want that. That's huge in confidence for NHL goalies. But he's back now, and I'm so glad they went with Ullmark in this game. I know we had some debate. It seemed like the Islanders game might be more important. Maybe you save him for that, give him an extra night off, get Forsey in, and that's fine. But the thing is, Ross, when you've got a goalie like Ullmark that wants that title of being a number one guy, he's paid like the number one guy. He was brought in to be the number one guy. When he has a hot hand, do not pull that man away from the crease. It just would have been silly for me to cool him off and play him a different night. Now, obviously, hindsight's 2020. If Forsey doesn't have a great game and they lose that game up against the Islanders, especially if it's not a 3-point game, then maybe you got a different tune to that. But for right now, that was the right decision, in my opinion.
I'm very torn about tomorrow because not only is it a back-to-back, but it's a 5:00 puck drop. Like, they're playing in like 17 hours from right now. I don't know.
No, come on. We can't do this, Ross. Don't start
37 shots
tomorrow's
tonight.
Game.
Oh, you're saying don't? Okay.
Yeah,
well, the chat
don't.
wants it.
No, guys, come on. No.
Chat wants it, and I kind of want it. I'll take that side. Like, he's hot right now. Let him cook.
Yeah,
they're off till Wednesday. He's not going to play till Wednesday otherwise.
Yeah, but don't push it. And you got to give Forsey the opportunities too. I know that kind of contradicts what I just said, but you guys know I am a very clear anti-starting goalies in back-to-back games. So don't do it.
Okay, don't do it. Do it. Chat, let us know who's going in, Forsey or Ullmark. If you're the head coach of the Ottawa Senators, Travis Green is going to have a good decision to make, right? It's not one where you're like, oh, who's going to stop the puck? Like maybe it was earlier on this season. Now it's like, all right, now how do we manage workloads and manage this so we can sustain some success? Sens win 3-1. They scored twice in the second period. They add a third and then a late goal from Fedor Svechkov, second of the season for him, with just under 2 minutes left in the game. Sens win. And on the other side, we've got our Sen Central standouts and Zach Ostapchuk. What a tilt for Ostapchuk in tonight's game. That's next. You're listening to Locked On Senators and the Postcast. The Postcast is always brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure to check them out at 779 Bank Street. We got Citizens on the bus right now because it leaves 15 minutes after the game ends, brings you right back to the GCP where the vibes are free, and on Sens game days, you'll get 10% off your order by letting them know that you listen to the Locked On Senators podcast. You can also get your shuttle tickets for not only tomorrow's game against the Islanders, but also Wednesday against the Ducks and all Team Canada games for the World Juniors. So not only do they have the great shuttle, but they're also an awesome local establishment. They've got awesome food. I love the wings there. Perfect after the game to get a plate of wings. Pilsy, yeah, I know you're a mixing up guy on the menu. I'm a like what I like, and I just keep going back, but you never can go wrong at the GCP.
Well, yeah, Ross, when you got a great menu like that, I like to try different things, but I've made it clear one of my favorites, especially before a game, get a buffalo chicken wrap with some fries, get a lot of food in you so that you're sustained for the festivities ahead.
And you can find the Glebe Central Pub at 779 Bank Street. Hey, if you're going to go see Gabriel Eliasson and the Barrie Colts tomorrow play the 67s, grab a bite at the GCP. Head there at 779 Bank Street and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. Hot lunch, the vibes are free at the GCP.
This episode is also brought to you by our friends over at Indeed. We're driven by the search for better, but when it comes to hiring, guess what? The best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging. That's going to help you connect with candidates much faster. But it doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to all the other job sites. So what are you waiting for, guys? Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show, you're going to get yourself a $75 sponsored job credit. That's going to get your job more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Locked On Senators podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Welcome back. It's the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan. That is Brandon Piller. The Sens win 3-1. They're now 4-1-1 in their last 6 games, and they've got 2 more games on this homestand before they head to Carolina on Friday to start a back-to-back. They'll be back at home next Saturday against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I bring up Saturday because it is about time. The Sens had not won on a Saturday night in a month since they beat the Boston Bruins 3-2. They lost to Carolina. They lost to Vancouver. They lost to LA. Great to go into a victory Sunday and a game day Sunday. Of course, we will have the postcast for you after the game. Wild stat from Etienne in the postcast chat here. UC Saros is already at 23 games this season, the goalie for the Nashville Predators. And I'll go out and say it, without him, this is a blowout win. I thought UC Saros was fantastic, and the numbers would show that. The Ottawa Senators, with how many expected goals? Actually, less than Nashville. That's a bit surprising. That is in all situations as well, but I thought he was fantastic, especially early in this game.
Yeah, I mean, he had to be. The Ottawa Senators played a pretty good game offensively. And I mean, look at the goals that they scored on, Ross. Like 2 great shots, blocker side. Now, maybe that's a weak spot for Saros. I'm not sure. When you're a smaller goalie, I'm sure there's some sort of statistics that would show that. And then one goes off a defenseman's foot. So I think he played a good game, but Ullmark played a better game, in my opinion. And this is what we need to see from Linus Ullmark. And this is why I never got down on Ullmark, never panicked about Ullmark. I knew it was going to all smooth out. Just give it some time. So it's good.
Good times ahead. I hope you can't hear it. They're Zamboniing again. I didn't know. I'm today years old learning that you Zamboni after the ice and then they Zamboni again afterward. So hopefully that's okay. Fine. Good. Yeah, I'm like 500 miles up in the air right now. Yeah. However, we got Sen Central standouts presented by the Glebe Central Pub. Pilsy, I think there's a few to choose from here. I think we can snap it back twice. I'll leave it to you to take the low-hanging fruit.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if this is low-hanging fruit or not, Ross, but I'm going to go with my guy, Tim Stützle.
Whoa!
Give it to the German, and he'll get you some apples, some Apfels for the German. He was dishing up Apfelstrudel all night long, 2 assists. He ends up being a +3. I just thought this was a great game from Timmy Ross. Like I mentioned, I already highlighted that heads-up play where he sees JBD trailing. Right before the Giroux goal, he gets a good shot on net and creates chaos with the rebound there. And then eventually Giroux banks it off a defenseman, skated in, trying to hit Gaudette on the back door there. But like this guy is just so consistent. He's up to 32 points now in 26 games, Ross. Like 6 points above a point per game pace. We knew he was going to have a bounce back performance from last year. We were hoping he gets closer to that 90-point mark again, but there's no reason why Timmy can't be flirting with triple digits the way he's going right now.
15th in the NHL in points this season.
Love that. Yep.
Awesome.
Timmy, my first Sen Central standout presented by the Glebe Central Pub.
Well, thank you, because you're leaving some more low-hanging fruit for me, and that is Linus Ullmark. Fantastic performance from Linus Ullmark tonight, and now he's strung a few performances together now. I believe it's 4 in a row, if I'm not mistaken, and his save percentage in those games well over 920. I want to say it's closer to 930 right now. And his save percentage on the season, I'm seeing people in the chat wondering, going into tonight, he was at 891, and now he's at 898. So
we gotta
start
get
him tomorrow.
To 900.
Why don't we start him tomorrow? Get him to 900. Why don't we start him tomorrow?
No, I don't like it.
Just loved what he had tonight. I think that saved to me in the first period on Stamkos in front. The way he squeezed his pads and didn't allow a rebound, to me, that gave me a lot of confidence in what he was going to bring tonight. He was perfect for 58 minutes in this game. It's unfortunate they couldn't get him the shutout, but the amount of confidence that he's given the fan base, I think, over this run that he's on right now, I think is something that you can really build off of, especially if you're inside that room. I mean, you think about what he's been through early in this year. If he can keep this up, this team is easily going to pull themselves into the mix.
Well, Ross, they showed the graphic of the Sens, and I forget the parameters of it. Maybe people in the chat can help me out if you remembered. The Sens record when they got an above 900 save percentage, and it was like 35 and 2. And then it's when it's below
out of 82 games
or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
and then
it was good.
When it's below that, it was an abysmal record. Like, it's just crazy. All this team has needed, and Sens fans have known this, even like a bunch of people in the hockey industry have recognized this. If the Sens just got 900 or better save percentage last season, we're talking about a whole different outcome for how that team goes and where this team ends up in the offseason and where they ultimately are now, Ross. So it's just crazy that we don't ask for much from our goaltenders in Ottawa, and Linus Ullmark is giving us way more than what we need, and that's great.
It's amazing, and you just know that that's going a long way inside the room as well. So Linus Ullmark is my first Sen Central standout, and Jacques thinks it was 38, 8, and 2.
Yeah, it was something like that. Like, it was nuts.
Yeah, forget average goaltending, Nick Spence in the chat. How about elite goaltending? That's what Ottawa's gotten from Linus Ullmark in the last week and a half. So let's hope he keeps that up, Pilsy. We're going to do this snake style, and there's a couple different ways I'm thinking of going, but I'm settling on a guy who had 0 points tonight.
Oh, okay.
I want to give some love to Zach Ostapchuk, who unfortunately was a -1, but you look at what he brought physically, 4 hits in this game, the fight with Cole Smith, just handled him in that fight. And it was a fight where I'm surprised that Smith didn't get the instigator in that one, because it was a clean hit from Zach Ostapchuk, and we know he can throw him. He beat the wheels off Matt Rempe Jr. He's had some great fights in the American Hockey League. So I think that what you're seeing in Zach Ostapchuk is a guy who never wants to play in the AHL again. And the way he's playing, man, I think he's on the right track to being a full-time NHLer sooner rather than later. He only played 10 minutes and 20 seconds tonight, but he played that role perfectly. Loved what I saw from Ostapchuk tonight.
And I think they found the right spot for him, Ross, because I feel like when he was playing on the third line, it was just a little too much for him, and he wasn't able to kind of play the role that he needs to play to be successful in the NHL, at least this early in his career. Fourth line is perfect for him. He plays such a good meat and potato, simple, physical hockey game. Like, the thing I love about him, Ross, if he brings the puck into the zone, he's just going to put that thing on net. Don't overthink it. Don't try to stop up and look to see what your options are. You're a young fourth line center. Don't mess around. Just toss that thing on the net and drive hard and play good forechecking, back checking. And he's doing a really great job of that. And yeah, it's pretty awesome when you got a young kid like that can handle himself in a fight as well. So that's not where I thought you were going to go, Ross, but a good Sen Central standout.
Okay, what's your second one?
I'm going to give some love to Nick Cousins. Because this is a guy that you knew when the Sens brought him in, it's because they wanted to get a little greasier. They wanted a guy with cup winning experience. Nick Cousins won the cup with Florida last season. Belleville native, so he loved that, although I don't think spending time in Belleville was part of the plans when they signed him. And I had been thinking that being on the third line was a little much for him. I still think it might be. I think he's better suited for the fourth line. But you get a guy in a breakaway with that much time and space, and he puts it away with full emphasis. Like, there wasn't any hesitation. He didn't even look over to see who was trailing behind him. He was just like, I got this. I'm going to do a little backhand, forehand deke, and I already saw Jacob Bernard Docker pop one top shelf on blocker side and UC Stars, so I'll just do the same thing. And he was pretty excited about that one too. So that's a guy that plays the game with passion. I feel like he's a guy if he's in your locker room, you love him. If you're playing against him, you think he's the biggest scumbag on earth. But it's great when he's an Ottawa Senator. So I want to shout out Nick Cousins because that was a nice goal.
I love that. Good for him. He was very excited celebrating after that one to go up 3-0. Back to the Ostapchuk line, because Patrick Lawton's got a name for it. The Alberta Beef line. You've got Noah Gregor, Ridley Gregg, and Zach Ostapchuk there. So we love that one, Patrick. That's a great line. Nice. They're hard workers. They were getting in the mix, getting physical. In Ridley Gregg's case, drawing a big penalty on Michael Macaroni, we'll call him because I can't think of his name, McCarron, right Macaroni. Now. But the Sens win 3-1. And on the other side, we will talk about tomorrow's game because, of course, on Sunday, we will just have the postcast. So we will see are we keeping everything together? How's everything going to shake out as the Ottawa Senators have a back-to-back for the second weekend in a row? But first, Pilsy, today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks.
Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for your shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You guys heard me right. 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks also has a promo where you get $50 instantly when you play $5. Best part is you don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn those sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Welcome back to the Postcast. I'm Ross Levitan. Brandon Piller is here as well. And Laleem's Martian mentioning on Twitter, it is a icy, slippery drive home from the Canadian Tire Center. So if you were at the game, if you're on your way home, you may already be there, but I hope everybody stays safe in Ottawa. And that goes for tomorrow's day as well, which is another reason to just leave the keys at home and hop on the Glebe Central Pub shuttle. So we've had our Sen Central standouts. We've had a Claude Giroux goal as well. Pillsy, every time Giroux gets a point now, I head to the NHL record books, the all-time points leaders. He's in a bit of a spot right now where points-wise, there's nobody right in front of him, but he's still finding his way up this list. He's at 1,084 points, 69th in NHL history. Theo Fleury, Glenn Anderson, Frank Mahovlich, and Daryl Sittler are the players he's chasing. Some pretty elite company. When it comes to most goals in a career, we know that he is a disher first and foremost. So he's not inching his way too high up there. Tonight was his 357th career goal, putting him into a tie for 155th all time. He and David Pastrnak have the same amount of goals, passed in a few less games.
Yeah, hey. And what's the face-off percentage for Pasta?
Not as good.
Boom. Got him.
Senators play a 5:00 Eastern time game tomorrow against the Islanders. With that quick turnaround, are you looking at any lineup changes, or are you rolling this winning lineup out? And we had a question in the chat about the record with Noah Gregor in the lineup, 11-8-2, so a little bit above 500. He missed a bit of that losing skid there that the Sens were on. But what's your thought process if you're the coach going into tomorrow's game?
I mean, I don't change much. Obviously, you guys know I would change the goalie, get Forsey in there. But I assume Martin Palo isn't like fully healthy, because that would be my only other idea, is to get Martin Palo in a game here just to get some fresh legs in. But I mean, if he's coming off the flu, the legs aren't going to be that fresh there. So,
well, who's going to take slap shots if he comes in the lineup?
Clevin?
Yeah.
He scored on a slap shot.
Funny, man. Yeah, he's so funny. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't change a thing going into tomorrow's game. I'll leave the goaltending conversation alone. I would probably roll out Ullmark if he's comfortable, but I get it. Either way, it is a back-to-back, and you've got another back-to-back next Friday and Saturdays. So the Senators are in a bit of a, condensed schedule, and then they've randomly just got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays off last week, and then Monday, Tuesday this week. They'll play Wednesday, Friday, Saturday next week before they start that long 9-game road trip. All right, Pilsy, some final thoughts on this game we'll save until the very end. I will go to our boots on the ground report with the Martian at Lalim's Martian. You got home safe. Good to see. How was your experience at the game tonight, fella?
Well, the game was it was fun, boys. It was a good one out there. I got to give credit to the fans for this one. I think they showed up pretty well, and everyone who was in the building was pretty loud. It was a great win. We needed that, and it felt good. I'm sure you guys covered most of it, but the boys looked pretty good out there. They've kind of gone back to that defensive structure that we were talking about early in the season. So it's nice to see that.
One thing I didn't talk about, I don't think enough in this postcast, how bad are the Nashville Predators?
I don't know. It's tough to say. They got a lot of good pieces, but they're slow. I think that's the one thing that you can point out with them is you can tell they're just like they try to slow things down. And if a team like the Sens or any other really young team comes at them, face first, they're going to have a hard time dealing with it because the speed game is not their forte.
People are saying in the chat that Trotz went full Dory on big name hunting instead of guys that can actually help the team now. They're the lowest scoring team in the league.
Yeah, man.
You know what? I would actually liken it more to kind of similar to what the Leafs were like in the early 2000s when they were just grabbing old names that were guys who were performing that other teams kind of gave up on, guys like Gary Roberts and things like that.
How about Jamie Allison?
Allison, even Dougie in the second time around, things like that. I think you could kind of look at them just kind of going.
Brian Leach. Hey, remember they brought him
Brian Leach? Oh my, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean,
Owen Nolan, Patrick Lawton,
Nolan. There were, so they were
Lindros, young Zachary, Lindros, Nathan Horton. Oh, we got a lot here.
They were taking pages out of the old Leaf book and grabbing old names that I don't really think you can put Stamkos quite in that category. Even though he is kind of in his mid to late 30s now, I think. Gary Roberts and those guys at that time were like almost 40 by the time the Leafs were picking them up. So it's not quite the same, but in today's NHL, it is kind of parallel, I would say.
Wild. You got a Sen Central standout for us, Martian? You can double down. I know you're in the car.
You guys probably touched on the German. I mean, the German tonight was incredible. A couple assists out there. He was making things happen. You give him the puck, good things are going to happen. So I'm not sure who else you guys had. I mean, Ullmark obviously was a standout tonight. So he was an obvious one.
Well, it's interesting you say that second, though, because I was shocked. I said, I'll give you the low-hanging fruit, and I thought Pillsy was going to take Ullmark, but he went with Timmy as number one.
Yep.
Well, for skaters, Ross, I don't know what it looked like on TV. I know it's always a little bit different, but when you're at the game and you see what he's doing out there, it's hard to ignore him. And Ullmark, he just did great as well, but Timmy is just a creator out there. You give him the puck and he just makes plays and he creates chaos. He frazzles defensive players. He's so good. We are so lucky to have this guy on our team, man. He's so sick.
That's why you give it to the German.
Our guy Mark Hamad in the chat. He's the guy who does all of our postcast stats. He's wondering if you're going to turn off the panic button.
Look, I'm really glad I didn't press the button. I was getting peer pressured into it. People were calling me crazy that I hadn't pressed it yet. I stood strong. I almost pressed at the Vancouver game, but look, now this team's in a place. They're 500. They're 2 points out of a wild card spot. They're going to play the New York Islanders tomorrow. That's a good opportunity to leapfrog another team. And then you got the Pittsburgh Penguins, Philadelphia Flyers. I believe the Ottawa Senators can outpace them in the long-term scheme of things. And then the New York Rangers look like they're going through some big changes here, and that might either help them, the Trouba trade, or implode them even more. But
I heard they're looking at Rasmus Dahlin to come in and help them out.
Yeah, and Dylan Larkin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Those are their primary targets.
But look, I'm not going to say I love where this team is at, but these two games have really put them in a much better spot, and they can control their own destiny from this point. Like, that's what it comes down to. Is the East is very, teams are up, down, but I think the Sens are in a good spot here. And if they can stay consistent, if Ullmark can really have this level of play night in, night out, and we still haven't seen the Jake Sanderson we know and love. So that's another part of this team where I believe can be elevated. So the panic button is off, and I'm
turn
not
it
even
off. You turn it on,
it.
dude. Save your batteries.
All right, let's do it.
Boys, did you guys touch on the JBD shot tonight?
We did briefly. Pillsy, grab the button. Let's see it.
I mean, what a shot from JBD on his goal there, boys. Straight out of the chin of Canmore and Alberta.
I don't know how to turn the panic button off. It's been on for so long.
You're out of battery.
Off.
There you go. The panic button is off.
Everybody, relax. The panic button is off.
Shout out to me, my second Sen Central standout, analytically, as the stat card shows, second worst player on the ice tonight. I gave Stapchuk some love for that tilt.
I think he actually, he had a good game tonight. I thought this fourth line, I was kind of pointing him out to my buddies through the night. I just say, hey, watch out for 38. He's sneaky. Like, he's kind of got that. You know who he reminds me of, boys? I've come to think of it now, and he reminds me of a young Zach Smith. Got a like similar game, right? He can go up and down the lineup.
Yeah,
He's good young centerman. He likes to scrap. He's not afraid of it. Good Western boy. He kind of has that little bit of a Zach Smith to his game. And if that's what he is, then I'm happy with that. I like it.
Yeah. Oh, me too, man. They were calling him in the chat the Alberta beef line with Gregor and Ridley Gregg. A bunch of Alberta boys.
I mean, somebody like Noah Gregor's missing a little bit of beef, I would say. But he's fast, so fast, and he's hard on the puck. So I don't hate it.
Awesome.
I don't hate it.
Awesome. Great. Well, awesome. Thanks for the boots on the ground report, Marsh. And we're just going to wrap up talking a little Belleville. So you want to stick around for that? I know you got things to do.
Listen, I'm not so up to speed on the Belleville thing, so I'll let you guys.
I'm boots on the ground, fella. I'm up in the press box right now.
Yeah, dude, it's so sick that you're there actually right now. But also, I do want to say congratulations to Tyler Boucher on his first stage of the season.
Oh,
that's what we'd like to see. Hey, that's my boy.
But other than that, after the game.
Did they get the W's tonight, Ross?
Dude, they went down 3-0 again and won again in a shootout tonight. Yeah, dude, they're down 3-0 in the first period. Yeah.
The Belleville Sens get down 3-0. They're like, we got them right where we want them.
So funny, dude. I had a really, really good chat with the two scratches tonight. Matt Sogard's here, so I was chatting with him and Jabril Toure, who is like becoming my favorite dude ever. He was like, he's such an energy guy. I meant to get a picture with them. I forgot to ask because they're both 6'7". I thought it would have been hilarious with me in the middle of them, but had good chats with them. Garrett Pilon stopped by to congratulate me on the kid. I was like,
Peelsy, attaboy.
You're the best, man. He's just
that's captain shit right there.
It is captain shit. He was awesome. And I had a real good chat with Crooker too. Obviously we go way back with Crooker. So, yeah, I wanted to stay away from like right in front of the locker room. I'm not trying to jock sniff or anything. And, but Footy's got to do his post-game interviews. And I saw Oscar Pedersen on the bike, another guy, pew, pew, Pistol Pete. So I went over to say hi with him, chatted with him. That's when Pilon came up, and just such a good group of guys they got down here. It's impressive. And
led by Belzy, another great dude. Like
Belzy is the best, and I might be having a beverage with him in about an hour. But they've got a 6 a.m. bus, but they also just came back twice down 3-0 to win. So I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see what kind of light these guys have. They're 8-1 on the road, by the way, this year. So they're feeling real good about their game. And Stephen Halliday had the shootout winner tonight. He's an absolute stud, dude. He's wearing 34 out there, and he looks like a value brand Matthews out there. Like the puck protection that he has is unreal. So I'm happy for these boys because after the first period, I was like, oh no, this is going to be a tough one. But they battled back. Zach McEwen, the Wayne Gretzky, the NHL, had 2 goals tonight too. Or the AHL. I think I said NHL. He's the Wayne Gretzky, the AHL. Yeah, had a couple penalties though. Crooker's got to get up to the NHL sooner rather than later though. Like he deserves it. He scored his 10th goal of the season last night. So Yeah, good vibes here in Winnipeg with the boys in town, and Donovan Sabrango too. You always watch the guys who were just called up. I know he didn't get into a game, but he was awesome tonight too. So yeah, good vibes weekend for the Belleville Sens. That's all I really got. I just kind of hammered through it all.
What was it like getting back in the booth? Were you a little rusty with the color commentating, or
no? I just kept telling myself, "Shut up." Like, let the play-by-play guy do his work. I felt like the first year when I was doing it, like mid-play, I'd try to jump in with like a quick thing here, quick thing there. It's like, just shut up. Let Footy do his thing. He's such a stud. We're lucky to have Footy on the call.
It's like Bob Cole would say, when the play's on, that's my time. In between whistles, it's the color commentator. So that's good.
Bobby Cole used to get rattled about that, right? When guys
with Harry Neal, eh?
Hey, you just shut the hell up while I'm going. And when the play's going, that's my job. And you just
it's easier said than done, though. Sometimes I had to move my mic up because sometimes I'm like, wow.
Yeah. I know.
Now Manitoba did
that's the fan in you, Ross. That's the fan in you, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't take the dog out of you.
The first goal tonight was a backhand feed from Malcolm Subban behind the net. So I thought it was just a ring in. So I started just saying a little something. And next thing I know, I went, whoop. And then Footy's like, yeah, it's a goal.
Yeah, I mean, it does help when you got a guy as experienced and as good at calling games as Footy. Like, Footy does games by himself a lot. Like, this guy is an amazing broadcaster and a good friend of ours. So it helps when the chemistry's there as well.
Yeah, he's a pro. So are you fellas for jumping on. This was awesome. Really had a great chat after a 3-1 Sens win against the Nashville Predators. Martian, final thoughts from you on today's game?
Honestly, my final thoughts are I'm hoping everybody got home safe from the CTC tonight because this snowstorm it was on the forecast, so people probably should have known it was coming. But a guy like me, I didn't have my winter tires on yet, and it's tough. Boy. I know that's a bonehead boom by me. That's completely on me. But
it's a dash too.
I mean, it was messy. It was messy December. Out there. And I'm gonna give a dash to the snowplow guys. Like, come on, there's a Sens game on. There's a Sens game on here tonight, and you got nothing cleared on the eastbound lane going down back downtown, and the other way. I don't even know what the other way looked like. It looked like it was backed up as well. But let me just say, I had a tough time getting back. I had to drop off a buddy in the chin of Vanier, which was not perfect. There was not a lot of plowing going on over there either. I was skating around, boys. It was tough. Got home safe. Happy to do so, but I had to take my time out there.
Awesome. No, we're glad you're safe. Are you going back tomorrow?
I am not going back tomorrow.
Not yet. As of right now, yes, to say.
Listen, I've been generously offered opportunities to go to the game tomorrow. I think I'm opting out. I have plans to hang out at home and watch with a couple people back here. So I'll be ready.
Chat's giving it to you. Chat's saying you're not allowed to drive until you get your winters on.
I know. I have it booked. I have it booked for next week. So I'm
okay. I'm
right there with you. I don't want to drive.
Half Jap 1980 says, Martina, if you want to take a drive to Bowmanville, he'll swap them for free.
No, I'm good. I'm gonna get that taken care of. I'm gonna get that taken care of. I'm gonna get that taken care of at home here. We've got it booked. Boys. It's booked.
All right.
I was a little late this year. Last year I was on top of it. This year I totally dropped the ball. It happens. That's what happens.
Yep, that's fair. Get the winter boots on the Nissan Kick, eh?
Yeah, you can't blame me. You can't blame me out here.
Right? People will. Yeah. People will. Senators jump over Columbus and Buffalo in the standings. So we like that. Pilsy, final thoughts on today's show.
I was going to do a bit, Ross, where I said final thoughts, the Ottawa Senators won, and update everyone with the Belleville Senators score, but we've already been there, so we'll just plow through that. Back to 500. Feels good. 2 games out of a wild card spot. Let's get Forsey in tomorrow and keep her going keep her going.
All right. I like how he makes that his final thought, so I cannot retort. All right. For the Leams Martian and Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been the Postcast after a 3-1 Sens win over the Nashville Predators. Next up, a date with the Islanders tomorrow at 5 o'clock. This has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast and the Glebe Central Pub. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.